Here.
Mike,
Here.
MC,
Here.
and JJ is absent.
Thank you. Now, please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you, Father, for people that work in our city, the Public Works Department, the Art Department, Police Department, all of those people in the office as well. We thank you for the work that we pray, Lord, that they will be with this meeting, to keep conducted in a manner that is worthy of your praise, Lord. And we praise that we give you. We ask you for your service, in Christ's name.
First item on the agenda is approval of tonight's minute, or tonight's agenda. Can I hear a motion? Was that? Okay, got a motion from MC. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Yeah, hold on, can we discuss it please? Can I add something?
Sure.
I want to know as far as the stoplight goes, because it's not under old business and I want to see that.
But is that something that you have on your report?
Yes, I'll cover it.
Okay,
He'll be covering.
okay, then we don't need to.
Okay. Any further?
Will you be covering Hillcrest as well?
I can.
Perfect.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. And that did pass. Next item is the May 27th minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So,
Got a motion by MC. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jeremy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That passed. Next item is the city financials. Do I hear a motion to approve?
so,
Got a motion by MC. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jeremy. Any discussion?
yeah, I had some question.
Okay.
So, I'd like a little bit of explanation of where handwriting is, I don't know what's going on with that.
Okay.
Is that what you just handed us?
Right, this page.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
We reviewed that this afternoon, and it's not fully accurate. There have been payments made to each of the ones that say no except for one. And that one has us on delay waiting to get portal entry. And so some of them have worked late because of the transition and setting up portal entries. But they have been, the others have all been paid.
Yeah, I'm just completely lost on it, that's what I want an explanation of what happened and what is going on with these, because I'm not sure if I can follow what is the, it says no deposit, standard point no, it's payroll, one other Z, so I'm not sure I understand every line item that's here. Anybody can explain it a little bit more?
The two line items are the amount of payroll deposits for the last two, or for the month of May from the general fund into the payroll disbursement account.
Okay, I can't really go too quick there or
See,
something.
I think there'll be some more information about this at the work session, because a number of these, actually, for example, on the payments list, 5 out of the 6 have been paid already. One was on delayed payment, because the portal has to be approved. But I talked to the mayor about it this morning. He sent it to me, and we had a phone call, and going to be able to show that updated, and that can be provided at the work session.
So yeah, thank you for saying that.
Sure.
I'm just surprised because I've never
That's
I
up
would
to y'all.
table it. I agree.
No, I wanna know what your opinion is, but really, I wanna know what you think, but should we table it or should we not?
I personally, I'm in a different position than y'all are, I see it every day.
I would like to address this.
If you're not, if you're not comfortable with it, take it.
Well, we just got it.
No, I know, I got it today as well.
Let's take it. This is, it's supposed to be here on Friday before.
I understand that, Mike, but I didn't get access to this account till yesterday. And this account is a account underneath the general fund. And if you all haven't noticed, there's two accounts that fall underneath the general fund financials. And that's your undercover ops account and then also the payroll distribution account. There's two accounts that fall underneath your general. So when you run your general fund financials, these two accounts are also included into that account. So I couldn't give you the general fund financials without this account being completed.
Well, I think we need to table it and discuss it.
But if a payment has been made to the financials, it should have been entered into CenterPoint. Whether it has nothing to do with paying online or anything like that, if the payment has been made, it should have been posted into CenterPoint, your financials. Then it would have showed up on your financial report. So if the payments have been made in the month correctly, then it would have shown up. Doesn't matter if it's a check, if it's an electronic payment, if it hasn't cleared, it still should show up on your financials. Just like if you write a check and it shows up in your checkbook, it's gonna show up in your checkbook even if the check hasn't been cleared. Does that make sense?
I think
So
I
that's
get
what should have happened. And then, but that hasn't, it never was posted into CenterPoint to be able to go in to reconcile the account. And then when it says the payroll transfers, the general fund pays out all of the payroll. So it doesn't matter which department you're in, she will ask for a full, however much the entire amount of payroll is. Then the general fund writes a full check for the entire amount of payroll, then it goes into the payroll disbursement account. But what has to happen is the street fund, the water fund, and the sewer fund has to reimburse the general fund. Because the general fund should not be paying for those three accounts, for those departments. That hasn't been done in 3 pay periods. So that's what you're seeing for the $76,000 that needs to be reimbursed back to the general fund.
Okay.
I'll amend my motion to table it.
Thank you.
Got a motion, second by, motion by MC, second by Mike. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. And that is approved. Next item is the water and sewer financials. I'd entertain a motion to approve. Got a motion by MC, do I hear a second?
Okay.
Second by Erica, any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. That one passes. Next item is department reports. Fire department report.
Anybody have any questions?
Are you all
You
fully
have to
staffed
carry
now?
on because I haven't seen it, so, yeah.
Are you all fully staffed now?
Yeah.
You were down one, weren't you, for a second, and now you're, okay, perfect.
He's been with us about 2 weeks now.
Okay, great. That was my only question.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next item is police report.
Finally, I've got that last person hired, and he's been here, so we're fully staffed for more than 2 weeks, so I'm pretty excited. You have all the numbers in front of you, unless you guys got any questions. The 4th of July is upon us, and we're already starting to chase ghosts, and we're out there trying to catch people shooting them, but, you know, it's, by the time we get there, they're done, or they're gone. But, yeah, so be aware of the ordinances. When you can shoot them, when you can. We posted them, I think we posted them on our Facebook. The police side, we need to put it on the city, deal, put it on the city's Facebook, just so people can see when and how late they can shoot them. But, any questions?
One felony.
Yeah.
Okay.
next is the planning commission report.
Good evening. Planning question about last week. We had quite a few items going on this month. I mean, nothing, for y'all, obviously, but probably a couple of items in the near future. We're still working on a preliminary plat for Trillium Development that's out on Murdoch. And then they've also got a minor track split they're working on that's on some adjacent property they own. They're looking at incorporating some other properties into the Trillium one also, so they're moving a lot of properties around out there, looking at adding their subdivision, doing a lot of different things. So really, a lot of moving parts, been working on a lot of that, keeping Adam and the public busy, reviewing all of it, obviously. So we've got a replat for Parker Estates, which is top key properties down there. They're looking at taking a large 2+ acre lot and turning that into 2 1-acre lots. We've got a potential preliminary plat. It is a preliminary plat they've submitted for the branch subdivision. This is out on the corner of Morningstar and Phillips Cemetery Road. Looking at some water extensions, potentially some annexations, so that'll be one that you'll see a little bit more in the future as far as annexations, zoning, those kind of things.
Do the annexations have residents on them right now? Or is it just a?
I don't have anything submitted, so I really can't fully answer that, but the annexation,
I just thought
the
it'd be
piece of
more
property
exciting.
that this entails
Yes.
is already contiguous to us, and there is one home on it. It's a 40-acre tract, it's like that one single family home. So, but it's a voluntary annexation. is what
Okay,
it is.
thank you.
So it's not like a city for it, but they're voluntarily doing it. I mean, it would be city.
That's all I need.
owners if they wanted water, obviously, but they're voluntarily doing it, no issues.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. We've got another lot split that's up on Peppergrass Path. This is in the Scissortail subdivision. And before it was ever annexed into the city of Cave Springs, someone had gone in and combined 2 other larger lots. And essentially they just asked to take that and do away with it, put the lot line back the way it was originally preliminary platted. So, kind of very minor. Someone originally wanted to build one extremely large house, and now they want to build just 2 regularly large houses. Again, so, again, pretty minor, nothing major there. We've got a lot split for Dancing the Rabbit, or no, sorry, not a lot split. They can't do it with us. It's a lot line adjustment. They're just wanting to square up the way they had previously done some lines on the property and make one kind of larger rectangular lot. And then obviously, the other one that y'all should be seeing fairly soon will be the Master Street Plan, Future Land Use Plan. We're looking at potentially having that before y'all in July. Having a public hearing at the, I believe it was July 7th, Plan Commission. But other than that, general updates, we're still working on the vision plan, the downtown master plan, kind of transitioning back into zoning now that, we've got some of the maps and stuff, worked out. Obviously, the downtown master plan has influenced our maps, in what we've looked at, and what they've incorporated some other things as far as street sections and stuff for downtown specifically, that was, things that we had highlighted in that downtown master plan, so. Kind of some new products and some new updates. And then the other product will be updating the active transportation plan. So the next map we'll do is an active transportation map update to help it run in line with our master street plan map. With all the moving properties, we change our master street plan maps, we also want to change our active transportation map, showing where we have trail connectivity, potential sidewalks, things like that.
I have a question, I tried to look at your agenda, I didn't see it on there. 264 and Ford, anything on that? On 264 and Ford, or have they brought anything back for that? By
Yes.
Brooklyn?
Yes, the
Are they coming back?
PCD.
Yes.
No, nothing new has been submitted. They were not on this planning commission's agenda.
Because they tabled it on their own, correct?
Yes, yeah, I had spoke with them, whatever one of the previous meetings were.
Yes.
And said, you know, you're not ready, you know, y'all need to just go ahead and request a table it, and they're agreed, so, nothing new since the.
So that's just on them now to bring
It
it
is
back to
on
you?
them, yes.
Okay. Alright, thank you.
We've had a lot of back and forth on that, and at this point, you know, they need to kind of start moving forward with it.
Okay. Can they table it, like, as long as they want? Like, what does that entail?
There is some timelines, you know, to get things done, like if it's approved, you know, before like things are started, but I'm not 100% certain on if there's a timeline, if it's like a city table thing, or if it's like a applicant requested table. Now, I think they can table it.
As long as they want?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, it'd be great to get an answer on that, because I know people in Ridgewood and Brentwood would love to know when that's gonna be popping up again, or if they have to reapply after a certain period of time. I don't know the planning rules.
We've looked at it, I don't remember anything about applicants taking it. And I've even touched the base again, I think, with, Juliet and James Walden, who are both Gardner and planners. James is kind of, Juliet's kind of part of Little Rock. And just kind of brushed up on like, if we table this, like, did they pass a law where, you know, it like automatically goes through? It's like there was a talk at one time, you know, legislative stuff, and that didn't happen, so.
Mayor, do you know, can they table it as long as they want?
I don't know the latest. I know at one time they could table it as long as they wanted, but if we tabled it, I think it was 3 times.
And that's what I was thinking, that's why I asked.
Then in our ordinance, it used to state that it passed, and if we
If
did.
we did it.
If we did it, but if they did it, they can take their time, reorganize, and try to bring something back that
Okay.
will go through, and they have more time.
Okay, so that's kind of just on them.
It's on them,
I
but
think it is when it's applicant request.
Okay, perfect, good to know, thank you.
Anything else?
I guess, I think, I'm not saying that to be disrespectful, but I do have asked many times if you could go and use the visualize, put it on the screen,
Yes.
just like we used to do, and the city is growing more, and it's kind of nice for audience that's sitting here being able to see what we're talking about here. It's good for us to be able to see, is there any way we could make that happen?
Yes, I have a computer, we can, you know, get a board, plug in, should be able to, you know, send things up there as far as whenever. The only time I assumed I would be doing that is if it's, items that y'all are going to be actually taking action on, like just the updates, I wasn't planning on that. I mean, I'll be doing that in actual planning commission meetings as far as that, like, let's take, you know, the lots of the Peppergrass path, like, that's not something as we run through updates that I assume I would be putting it there. It's just kind of like a general update, it's something we go through the planning commission. If we want something like that, for the entirety of it, we try to figure something out.
I think we can discuss it further, but I would like to see.
sure, I thought you were referring to when there were drawings and plats, and I didn't know you were meaning when you're,
Well,
yeah, this.
we're talking about the subdivision, we're talking about these, we wanna know where they're located, or if they, at these things that we are sure we're gonna have something that we're gonna take action on. So we can discuss those and see them. If you guys don't feel like it's necessary.
I don't mind doing it, I just
I don't
didn't
see why.
understand that was the request. I just thought the request was for when there was actual drawings and things to lay out, that's fine.
I'm done.
I have one other thing I'd like to mention to the mayor about planning commission. I watched them on YouTube or Facebook. You can't hear a word they're saying. You can hear the person that's using their mic, but you can't hear a word they're saying. That guy leans way back and they don't talk into their mics or even turn them on. And the comments there are, can't hear. It's been that way for some time. That needs to be addressed. And you're the only one that can address it.
And I am working on a set of rules that will be posted and going to be addressing how meetings are going to be conducted.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Next item is Water and Sewer Department report.
I go ahead and start again. So one of us went down some, we had a meeting last night, most of it was about water loss, to be honest with you. And I'm so glad that Will is here. I'm glad we hired him. I think he's doing a great job. And what I'm gonna say is no reflection on him, a reflection on what we have not been able to accomplish. And honestly, even though we're done, and I asked for some graph, we discussed it in a meeting last night, and Daniel, thank you for putting the graph together, that shows we're trending downward. We go to it a little bit more in just a second, but I want to make sure what the statement I'm making is no reflection on Will, because I'm so glad he's here actually, to the city of Harrisburg. But 50% is not acceptable. That was my saying last night, and I think everybody agreed, Mr. Mayor agreed, everybody. We need to figure out what the problem is. After discussing it further, I think there is one ticket item that's been open since, which is not, it's been open since February. That counts for 10% of it. And when we asked more questions, we found out that it's because the contractor just didn't finish his job. He got busy with others, so he dropped this one. And to me, that's not acceptable, because if we need to make a contract with them and hold them accountable, then we need to hold them accountable. I think Mr. Mayor and everybody agreed to that point. But what I'm kind of disappointed, honestly, that it didn't come to surface until we discussed it. I'd like to see that if you have issue with the contractor or anything like that, that we react to it a little bit faster. Honestly, that 50% I don't think is acceptable. If we fix that, if we take that 10% off, it's down to 42%. And that's not, I'd like to see it at 30%, that's what on average is acceptable to what to the industry. That right now, we're way above it, and I think there's a few things, as you can see, this year is better than last year, by far, if you look at the graph, it's running downward, but still, that's not what our goal is. Our goal is to get it to 30%, and we need to figure out why. If it's a contractor, we need to make phone call after phone call after we get them on the phone to get here. If they're not already here, maybe we need to have somebody else as a backup, as a contractor that we use two. If we give exclusive the city's business to one contractor, then our expectation is not to drop us to go to another city and do their business, regardless of how big it is, because we're giving our business to him exclusively. Now, if they don't want to be exclusive, that's fine, let's find out somebody else that can count on it to take care of it, because we're talking about $5,000 a month just for one contractor that we could save. And I think there are other things that we're looking at. Was it the seals that they bought wasn't good? It's a pressure system that Daniel said by December we'll be done with this study. Yes. And I have other resources that I'm really honestly, I'm doing a study right now, I'm doing a lot of research. I got in touch with a few other people that are in this business to figure out what the water loss is. If I find anything, I'll bring it to the committee and then bring it here. But I want to assure everybody on the city council that we are fighting it really hard and we're looking at it really hard. We're just not sitting there, it's just, and I think one of the good things that came out of it, maybe I'm going to make another suggestion. We're going to do the graph so we can see it easily. The other suggestion is, I think these tickets that we have here that's open, for example, replace water main, I'd like to explain the reason it wasn't because we're waiting on a contractor. That way it's very clear to everybody, and maybe every 2 weeks we get a report of where we are, if we could get it. I don't know, we discussed that. That way we're on top of it. I think we should give it 3 months of really focus on it to see every 2 weeks looking at it, finding out what's going on, is it contracted, maybe doing a one-on-one with Bill, that kind of stuff should be coming up, that's just my suggestion. But I just wanna make sure it's not acceptable to me, it wasn't acceptable to committee, and I don't think it's acceptable to city council. So we need to react more, we're doing better, but we need to react to it faster.
I'm sorry, I have a question about the loss. If the contractor left the job and that counts for 10% of our loss, are they liable for that?
No, because they don't have a contract with us, they are.
A hire?
They just hire them, that's what I wanna make sure we have a contract, but if we have exclusive, then we hold them, we can't hold them accountable right now.
So maybe, you're saying maybe go under contract with one particular company that we can
We'll
call.
have a backup for it also, that in case this one can't do it, then we hire another person.
So then it gets fixed faster. Okay, I'm tracking that. Thank you.
Why would we use one if it won't work? I don't understand that.
May I speak? I think what happened, the one that they hired, because it wasn't on a contract, it was based on it, every time if they had a water leak or something, they would call a contract that we don't change. They would call that contractor anymore, that contractor is extremely busy with another city, so it kind of dropped us, to be honest with you. And so that's why I wanted to sooner than later react to that, and I think we're in the right track. Will, do you want to add anything to that? Because I know you can talk.
Can I make a couple of statements here, questions, Earl? First, I've been on council for 6.5 years. It's always been this way. Always. For 6.5 years. Think of the money we could have used if we could get the roads fixed. Second, did we not hire a company to find these leaks? Where are they?
They found the leaks, we went through and we repaired every leak that happened.
So these are brand new leaks?
These are newer leaks.
That's what messes. That's why we're doing the water master water plan study that Denver is supposed to do. And I think Denver, if you're looking at the graph, to be honest with you, I guess I was a little bit too maybe harsh, but I want to be honest and look at it. You look at 2025 and look at 2024, the gallon budget went down. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I'm saying that at least this year we're spending different and we're staying on top of finding out what the issue is. Some of it is communication, to be honest with you. I don't agree that the contractor should be go to whatever he wants to do. And I feel like our city is a priority for us, so they need to take care of us.
So would that be something we have to put out for bids and then go about it that way?
Well, I'm a couple of them to have moved it as a actual vendor or contractor that we use. Might have any more? Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, so I just want to speak in defense of the contractor we have been using. They've done a great job the vast majority of the time. This one project, it required a lot of coordination with the operator and contractor. So this one job is not reflective of their work. And that's why we continue to use them, because they are great. And when we have a leak, the vast majority of the time they can get out there that day, if not the next day. But I agree with you, MC. Going forward, we do need to have some redundancy there, and that's why I reached out to Daniel. He gave me a list of contractors. I'm going to be reaching out to them tomorrow with sort of like a standard, not a contract, but just seeing what their pricing would be if we were to say lead in for 100 feet of tillage line, and just kind of compare them all. And in the past, I've heard that when we've reached out to these contractors, they won't even give us a bid unless we're giving them months worth of work, because it's just not worth their time. So that's kind of why we've been using this single contractor, because they're willing to come out and do the jobs that we need to on a day-to-day basis. So, but we are looking into other contractors.
Thank you for reaching out to them.
certain that he can get that job done by next city council meeting, if not sooner.
By when?
By next city council meeting, if not sooner. So,
How many times have we called that contractor since this project was done and he didn't finish?
I'm sorry, how many times have you called
Have
that?
we called him saying, hey, when you coming back to fix this?
2 times. Yeah. They started, not last week, but the week before that. But since then, we've called them out twice for emergency sewer repairs and water repairs. And they showed up the same day.
No, I'm talking about this project, the ticket was open in February, right? So he didn't start on it until 2 weeks ago,
Correct.
and why is that? Because he just didn't have time.
Well, it was a time commitment, and like I said, it required coordination with the operator of record to get a game plan in place, what we're gonna do, get the materials ordered, things of that nature. But then when we started, it was 2 weeks ago.
I think that's, ordering what we need and stuff, or I don't know at what point, what date in February or when did we contact them, when they agreed to do the job. But since February to now, the reason I'm asking this, I want to, this is kind of like, why did we get to the bottom, what the solution is for? If the ticket was open in February, do we document anywhere that when did we contact the contractor to come in and fix the issue?
I don't know if there's any documentation, but they have been aware of it,
When?
probably since February. It's been a time commitment issue. They have contracts with fiber optic, companies, Bentonville.
So if they have a problem with coming in February, they don't have time for it. Did we contact anybody else who said they did we contact any other contractor to see if they can do it in February?
We can, I mean, the Public Works Department did reach out to me with a request or that there was a concern. But, I mean, that was February 25th, it was nearly March, and the discussion came up last night where they were saying there was a problem. I knew they at one point ordered parts, and I didn't know where it had gone to that degree.
Exactly. That's what I like to, I mean, if I want to be on that, whether it's good for me, and I don't mind being on it, and I don't mind sharing it, but I really do want transparency in these, have asked for the ticket opens, action taken, why it's not resolved, all the, needs to be transparent, so if I want to go see it, at least I can go see it, or even I can put up the committee that I think that would bring a lot of issues to light that might exist, that you're a busy person, you might have a lot of things to do, not having time to look at it, if I can look at it or somebody else, and maybe an update on weekly to say, hey, what ticket we got and what issues we have with it, to you or me or somebody else, not necessarily want to have more on my own plate, but I'm just saying I'd be willing to help. You just need to be more on top of it, and I think really working really hard trying to do this, we just need to give him the support that he needs.
I guess with the contractor, when you first brought it up, it was a little frustrating, it wasn't completed for, when you talked about it, but when I look at it, there's a timeline on it, but to me, in my happy it's open since February, it would be nice to know when they were contacted, when the parts were ordered, and timeline, because then that would answer all of your questions. But one thing about this contractor, one positive thing, is that we had 2 major sewer leaks, Will, did you say?
Those sewer were one.
2, and they were major?
The sewer was,
Yeah, and they showed up and fixed it right away. So, maybe, but I guess maybe look at, I don't know, that to me is huge, to have, a major sewer leak fixed like that from this particular contractor, whereas one that's gonna take longer, I'd rather him show up for the little quick, or not, the important emergencies right away while he's trying to work, but I agree a timeline of, make first contact, determine parts and things like that. All your questions could be answered, I like that.
And, you know, I think I agree with you. Definitely not suggesting that we need to get rid of this contract. I'm just saying you need to have a backup, understand transparency. These guys are gonna be able to do all this, contact somebody else. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
And that gentleman needs to be there because he's doing a good job of doing day-to-day stuff that we need. Nobody questioning that. And also, I am gonna challenge you, Will, that you have a consultant on that works for you, works for City of Case Spring, but really works for you also. You need to ask him questions, you need to ask for guidance. That's why Jeff is there. I don't know. I mean, the things like that needs to be brought to him and see what he says, he suggests, and if you're not, or reach out to Mr. Mayor, me, whoever, but I really challenge you to, the reason we're paying for that consultant is to support you, not the other way around.
I agree.
Anybody else has questions for Daniel, goes to this stuff?
He wanted to go over something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. About
I
that,
was asked to give a brief educational presentation on our water meter boxes and the MXUs due to a recent Facebook post, so I'll just do that real quick.
Sure.
thank you. So I had reached out to him to ask him because some of the comments on Facebook were, well, why would the city do this or that? But he was able to explain things in a way that I don't think every resident can, and it'd be great for us council to have an understanding so that we can help educate as well as best as we can.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Yep. So this is what is buried in the ground. You're only able to see the top portion of it here. Just a little bit of history. The city has had tap reads in the past, which required a city employee to come out and physically tap the lid of the meter to get a read. And that took 2 people a week and a half to do each month to get the meter reads. So city council opted into doing radio reads, which now transmit the meter read via radio. And now we're able to drive around the city in 1 hour with one person and read all the meters. So that is the reason for this little puck on the lid. One of the questions was, why can't we turn the lid upside down? And that's because we've got this thing, which is the MXU. This is what transmits the meter information to radio form. So the point of the post was just to make people aware that there is this technology sitting in your yard and to be cautious when you're mowing around it because these things aren't cheap. And yeah.
One thing you told me is that I didn't realize is that actually protects the little radio signal or something that's underneath of it.
Yes.
So that's the protector for
Yeah, this puck right here it's made of a very durable plastic, and it can withstand weather and all sorts of things, but it can't withstand a lawnmower blade. So
As most things in life cannot withstand a lawnmower blade.
yeah, and you know every radio read that I know of except one has these pucks on the exterior of the lid. So Rogers, Bentonville. It might be a different brand, so the dimensions might be a little flatter or taller, but they're there. So
And even when we had the touch read, it had something very similar, but there was one for each meter, so there were 2, both holes were being used. And those got hit with mowers as well. There's not a water meter box, to my knowledge, that you really shouldn't be running over utility boxes, and that's a water box any more so than an electric box. It's a utility box, you're supposed to go around it, and that's the basic rules with any city. That's not unique to us.
yes. So any questions?
Thank you so much for taking the time to do that.
Yeah, if there is no question.
Do we have an ordinance that states that we are to charge, or that we
Yes,
can
we
charge
do.
residents? Do you know what that ordinance is?
I know that we passed that, we'll have to look it up, but I do know that we passed that when I was on council.
And it states that they can charge that $300 for the read? Because I know that the radio reads are newer than that ordinance is.
The radio read is newer, but the unit on the top
Is the
was
same
there
cost?
before, and I think we changed the price when we changed, or it may state the cost of the device.
Can we double check that
I'll
just to
double
make
check
sure?
it,
Because
but I do know that it was I don't remember if it's ordinance or resolution, but I do know that we passed it.
okay, because I mean, that was a question that was asked to me, is where does it state in our city ordinances that says that they can charge us? And I said, I'm unsure, but I'll double check and make sure. And if it's not, we just need to update that, and make sure
Right.
that it's the cost that we were gonna charge the residents.
We'll look into that as well.
Thank you.
Confirm.
I have a question. At my house, at the end of my concrete slab is where the water meter thing is. There's two in there, and we have a metal lid over it. But it's the same kind of unit on that metal lid.
Yes, should, yeah.
Cause it's, what it sits in is not black, it's white in there.
And
We, the house was built, I'm sure.
yeah, we use different lids and different cans depending on when the house was built. That's just the most recent model we're using.
Some of the older ones, like ours, it looks like a 5-gallon bucket
Yeah.
with the lid that sits in the recess.
Okay, just want to be sure.
Well, I have one more question. So I see here that says 14 open ticket. On the report it says 14, but I see on the sheet that you provided, there's only 9, so what are those other ones?
That's our mistake. We prepared the sheet.
Like, so you,
So the sheet.
Those were those RDOT service disconnects.
So last night I had a different, sheet. We had, five or 4, service line abandonments for the demos, and we got those done today.
like in open position, we had anything else with it? You got anything else?
Well, I guess the only thing I wanted to say was, yeah, we are moving in the right direction for water loss, as you can see based on those trend lines. And water loss it's very nuanced because there's a lot that goes into it. On the surface level, the first level of fixing water loss, you obviously repair the visible leaks that you see on the surface, and we're doing that now. The second level to it is the data transfer, so how you calculate water loss is how much water you bought versus how much you sold, and then the difference. We have the master meter at Bentonville, and that's read at a specific point in time. And in the past, we've, like I said, spread out our reads over a week in some cases. So there was that variance. You know, it could have made our water loss look better, it could have made it look worse, depending on when those meters were read. But now that we've got the radio reads, we should be able to cut down on that almost entirely, depending on when we do those meter reads. And the third thing is, repairing leaks after they happen is you are band-aiding symptom. I think it's important that we have passed this hydrology study because it's going to address the causes potentially of why we're having water loss in the first place, whether it be pressure, air, materials, installation. And when we can control the variables that we're able to, which would be pressure and air, we can't really control what materials are in the ground, we can't really control how they're going to install. But when we can control what we can and have the data to control those, I think we're going to be in a lot better spot. So, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Will.
Staffing, we have one open position. started in January with 17 million, and now we are down to 13 million. It is I'm looking at world class, so we have made some improvement, but we're not happy with what we had. Continues to work. And it's something he inherited, it was there for years and years and years, as he said. So finally, we really have to try to take care of it. Daniel, want to go on it? Thank you.
We provided an update on all projects that you've got in front of you. He's doing the high points on a few of them. The NACO sewer line project continues to be almost complete, like we talked about the last several months. The natural gas line has been installed by the gas provider. We're just waiting on the plumber to get the line installed from the riser to the generator so we can start up there. The odor control unit is about to reach its 6-week mark, startup mark. It's been operating well. We're going to be able to, so it will be fully commissioned, if you will, once we reach that mark. Tonight, the final walkthrough once we can commission the generator. One of the last items we will be looking at, due to the location of the lift station, proximity to the subdivision, we received a request from a homeowner right behind the lift station to install some landscaping. So we prepared a landscaping plan before they did that through the installs on it as well. We received a price from the contractor to install that on the back side of it for a total of $19,555. That does include a 1-year warranty on landscaping as well as some watering bags that will assist the city in filling those bags at times. It was the recommendation of the water committee last night, the water and wastewater committee last night, to bring that to the council tonight, so if you want to move forward with a change order, add the landscaping units to the backup project.
Yes, can we go ahead and have a vote and a motion on that at this point, and wait till the end of the reports?
I think we've done that before. It's been a practice that a council member can make a motion during reports, so that is possible.
Do I hear a motion to move forward with this?
So we can discuss it.
Do I hear a second? Okay, discussion.
I wanted to say, if my personal feeling, I wanna see what that $19,555 entails, because that tells me nothing, it tells me the price. And for that, in one location of town, as a council member, I personally think that's a little much. Is my personal thought. I think that typically we discuss spending that much money at a work session. And so that would be something that I would like to do, is talk about it at a work session. But I would vote no tonight, but you guys, if everybody else is in agreement, you could possibly have a quorum without me.
So, is that motion to?
I was just sharing my personal thoughts. I'd love to hear everybody else's, but
Yeah, well, you mentioned tabling, so I just wondered if that's in the form of a motion or just
that's just in form of my
your opinion.
opinion. Like, if you have enough to vote for a quorum, my vote will be no. Because I don't want to set that precedent.
That's correct, at the lift station, between the subdivision and the lift station on the slope.
What are they planning on putting?
3 2-inch green hawthorns, 2 2-inch scarlet oaks, 2 2-inch scarlet maples, 1 2-inch back in caliber. Yes. 1 2-inch Jefferson elm, 3 2-inch red maples, shredded hardwood mulch, gator bags, a year warranty, initial layer.
Actually, I would just do this for a work session.
I haven't seen the layout.
Motion to table, do I hear a second?
Yeah, we had a motion on.
Oh, we had a motion, oh, sorry.
No, so we need to,
table takes priority over a motion to adopt. So you hear the motion to table first.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to table. All in favor, say aye.
I think you had a motion and second already.
Yes, and the motion to table takes priority is what you just
And
said.
if the motion to table is denied, then it goes to the motion to adopt. So it takes a priority over the motion to adopt.
Again, those in favor say aye. Those opposed, like sign. And it is tabled.
We will bring the details and the layout to show you guys what we did on. We just received pricing last Thursday.
Do you have just one bid on?
Well, we have a price from the general contractor that we already have a contract with.
On that property?
On that
So they
price.
have a landscape person that provided, okay, I guess I didn't understand.
A couple other things, the Otter Creek Lift Station surge protection, we should be issuing a notice to proceed by the end of this week, so they can get started on that project. It'll be a pretty quick project to wrap up. The water and sewer specifications, those have been approved by the Department of Health. Those will come before you next month for adoption. Just to prepare a resolution for that. And as a notification, next water and sewer committee meeting will be held on July 21st, here at same location. We are going to meet 30 minutes early at the lift station at 5:30. Should anyone want to go down and see the lift station at that time. Just extend that invitation to you.
I have one more question, Daniel, about this. Is there, and it was tabled, but this is, can I ask Daniel a question about what we tabled? Is that, okay?
Sure, yeah, it's still in the report.
Oh, okay. To me, I didn't think this, like, landscaping, a couple trees and stuff like that, like normal, what would be shade, I didn't expect a proposal such as this. Is there a way to get the is this the maximum coverage of the whole thing? Or is this, do you understand what I'm asking? When you, yes, but if this is the maximum coverage of the whole vicinity, if you put a house up in the back, someone built a house there instead, you're not gonna be fully covered. So this is way more than I was thinking. Can they bring a couple different options, or is this the only option?
No, there's several options.
Can we get a minimum, a medium, and then this being the max?
Well, it would be up to you guys. If there's a certain dollar figure that you'd like to shoot for,
Oh, I guess we can talk about it then, but.
yeah, we could look at that and.
But if they, with that list, or maybe, I don't know if they could bring us, do you get where I'm asking, like,
I do. We have unit prices for each of these.
okay.
So if we were to
And you
pick
would
and
know-
choose,
You would know the coverage area they're talking about in relation to,
we have a drawing that shows where they're placed.
perfect, thank you.
I have a question. I know you mentioned Otter Creek. That notice to proceed planned for the end of the month, is that this month or
That's
last month?
This month.
Because it was done in May.
The contracts were signed in May.
Okay. I guess I'm not understanding what the difference is. I mean, if you sign a contract, you start whatever it is.
So when you sign a contract with the contractor, that gives them the comfort, or actually they're legally bound now if they have a contract with the city. They will not procure equipment until they have that contract. So when the contract was signed, they had to order the equipment for this. And so we can do it one of two ways. We can issue the notice to proceed immediately whenever the contractor signs the contract, and then stop the time because they have to have time to get the materials. We don't know what that lead time is. Or we can wait until they submit their submittals and understanding when the delivery date's going to be with those, and then start their time at that point. It's one or the other. You're still going to end up at the same finish line.
All right, on RDOT Highway 112 realignment, 612 Wallace Road, the let date, is that when they send
that is when they will open bids. It's right now it's scheduled to open bids on May of 27, for that section. That's RDOT, and that means we need to have our utilities out of the way by that time frame.
Okay, what about that lift station, the old lift station down here, just off of 112 down here, on the what? Yeah, on the bond property. Are we gonna take that out?
That's correct.
Like the contract said?
That's correct.
I thought we were waiting on the highway department to do it. That's what I was told in the past.
That's correct. We are. The highway department is paying to relocate the city's utilities that are outside the right of way. So we currently are working on those drawings right now. We'll bid that project out separately. This let date that you're looking at, that is the bid date for the highway improvements by the highway department, not the utility locations. And that has been kicked down the road, I think, 3 or 4 times.
At least twice.
With, it's, they postponed it.
Thank you.
That's all I have on the water and sewer side. If you're ready for me to get into the other projects, I can do that as well, for the engineering report. The Hillcrest subdivision, Eric had asked me to speak to. The complex project at this point, we have a new owner, partial owner of that subdivision. The current contractor, the partial owner bought about half of the lots, I'm just roughly, half the lots on the west side, but they accepted responsibility for the full swell. So, based on the challenges that we've had over the last month or 6 weeks, the contractor's been out there several times. The most recent trip he's been out there, he's regraded the lots along the southern boundary, or northern boundary of the subdivision to redirect more water back to the south and away from the homes, and install additional erosion control measures. I think we've met on site probably two times since the initial challenges, and he has been responsive. That being said, there has been some soil that's made its way to the streets. Some of the erosion control measures have washed or built up a sediment behind them, but he has been responsive based on what we've seen today, unless I'm told otherwise. I know we received photographs after the rainfall events, and we're coordinating with the contractor immediately after that. Many of those instances, he has already been on site by the time we've got the photographs to him.
Do you know when the road is going to be closed, either one of you? Do you have that road closed? The walls are still there, but I thought they were gonna put up like a barrier.
Yeah, and I did find out that it's supposed to be concrete, so
Oh, that'd be great.
do you know when he plans to have the barriers
I
up?
do not. I didn't know if that was him putting the barriers up or if it was the city.
Yeah, I reached out to the contractor and let them know that we're good with him putting the barriers up. And I have heard that. Because he was the one requesting to put the barriers there in the first place.
Gotcha.
I have one more question. I have brought up before, and I know MC has too, that ditch that comes down, Bright Road down. I cut across the other day, went down Ford, all the way down, made the curve, went down, there's a low water bridge down there too. And they're cleaning that all out. So why can't we get, if they can get authority to clean theirs out, why can't we get authority to clean this? Because that's on property, somebody owns that property, they're clearing that creek out on the east side. So I don't see what the problem is with us getting it
And I
done.
don't know how much of that is their right of way, because they're not going way out into the woods with it, they're right there by the ditch. Once everything's complete on this right-of-way deal and property, we have every intention and have already been discussing plans to clear it the length of our property, because then it's ours to get in there.
Right away.
May I speak to that?
Sure.
I gave, because it was supposed to be the right of way, should be at the middle of that low Bridgewater. And that was the understanding that Mr. Mayor had, and that's why he wasn't cleaning it, because he was thinking if half of it is mine, he can go in private property and use city equipment. However, now that I gave that part of it, and also 5 feet after to the north of it to city, now they have every right to kill in whatever they wanna do, so I'm hoping that.
And we've already been working on plans to do that.
Can you do a follow-up now, Mayor?
Sure.
And keep that on, under the follow-ups?
Sure.
And if you have to discuss with Public Works a timeline for that, so that it can stay on there until it's rectified.
If I remember correctly, some of the challenges, some of the reasons we've talked about in the past is we can't get on private property and provide improvements on private property unless we have an easement, permission.
It's city property.
Now it's cities, right?
Well, the city property, yes, we can do whatever we want to with city property.
All of it's cities now?
It's not yet, but they're in
It's
the process of, and it will be soon.
Can't you get permission from homeowners to clean it out?
There's still an issue with your using public funds to do private benefit.
It's not gonna be an issue anymore.
No,
because I
it's
gave
not.
up.
Yeah.
So I guess the date the city actually acquires it, and you're being paid from there.
The game plan from there is very quickly be working.
Well, if you could provide an update on that, the works, if, the date that we expect to acquire the property, and then the date that Public Works is able to work on it, via that we do not have emergencies in Public Works as well.
Right.
Or if it's a contract that would be that.
As far as the traffic signal, not much has changed other than the easement acquisitions. Cassie has reached out to the landowners as initial discussions, and she is now awarding prices for each of those, and some discussions that she's had. I'll continue to follow through. No updates on equipment. Lead times, they're still going to be in the summer. Is what it says. Until they get to equipment, and what they're telling us at this point, still, I think, August, so updates.
Maybe it'll be next year.
Fields Lane, Waverly Road Drainage Project that you approved at the last meeting. We will be having a pre-con contract signing probably this week. Hopefully, next week, we will be contractor meeting on that project. Any other questions on the engineering side?
Thank you.
I know we're waiting on equipment to come in for the stoplight. How long do we think we have on that? Do you have any idea? Timeline?
Timeline on equipment, I think the last they told us is around August timeframe is what the lead time is. I'll follow back up and see if anything has changed.
Do you think by then we have the easement also? So we don't have to wait on easement?
There's I think the electrical line's already been relocated as well.
Thank you.
All right. Next item is the attorney's report.
All right, good evening. Busy month for me, but sounds like CNU, the conference, playing conference with David, and then at AML, a lot of good discussions in both of those conferences. But I was going to touch on a few items that are coming up that haven't been mentioned already. One of them is the fire station case. As I mentioned last time, maybe it was at the work session, the case has been filed. Taken to general contractor, and filed with the county circuit court. There is a mediation requirement at the onset, and we're working towards that, and mediation is a good thing. Mediation is an informal session where you work with a mediator to see whether there can be a resolution to the matter. So I'll report on that we do have, some things coming forward, that put on the radar. We have a number of changes to the planning code that are gonna have to happen, due to new legislation. In particular, there's gonna have to be, a change to the zoning ordinance to address what's called accessory dwelling units. Accessory dwelling units are like additions to your home, or like either a separate or attached addition to a house. There was legislation in that came out this last session that, made accessory dwelling units a use by right in residential zones. So we have to do some changes to our code in order to comply. There's also, legislation that allows for third-party inspections and review of, developments. That's very complicated and kind of convoluted. But should an applicant want to use a third-party inspector or reviewer of a planning item, they have to pay for it. And there's a process that we would have to abide by. So we need to adjust our code to provide for that. And then the third one is in the last session, the legislature removed our jurisdiction to do planning review in what's called a planning area. It's also referred to as an extraterritorial jurisdiction. It's just 1 mile border around the city where for quite some time, for many decades, if there is somebody who brings a project or development into that area, that planning review is done by the city, and the city's development specifications for infrastructure are what are applied. That has been removed, and it's caused quite a bit of confusion and chaos. I know Benton County is concerned about it because they don't have the staffing level to be able to do those levels of review. So there's quite a bit of discussion on what needs to happen and come from that, but we need to remove our jurisdiction from the code. As mentioned in a couple of places. So we'll be working with David. We've already had some kind of brief discussions about it, but some of these items are points will have to go through planning commission and come up to you guys. Also, we're currently working with Will on a number of issues. We're setting a meeting for next week, and those are going to be on meters, MS4 issues with water runoff and drainage on the projects that we want to look at, and also issues that deal with code enforcement and safe and sanitary conditions. The situations that we've been talking about before that Mike has brought up a couple of times, where we have some structures downtown that are not in a good state, or we might have some other areas in town that need attention from the owners. And so in the past, we've kind of done those on an ad hoc basis when they come up, and I've used kind of letters and forms, but there really needs to be a process in place for that. And so we need to talk about that. We'll reach out to me to have that meeting, so we're going to be doing that as well. So those are just a couple of the items. Obviously, I think at the next work session, we're going to talk about the coffee house lease. So we'll be coming to you also, we have a discussion about that. I'm also going to bring forward some suggested changes based upon your comments and my review of the lease. So I'll bring or send to you all before the meeting a version that shows the changes, so we can discuss that further. So are there any questions for me?
Third part of the zoning, the things that have already been brought to the city to go through zoning, are those like grandfathered in under the old?
Yeah.
Do you remember that with the mile radius thing?
The extraterritorial jurisdiction?
Yes, so things that are already in front of the planning commission, are those?
Oh, those, yeah, if something's already been in the process of review, we'll be able to complete those. But, yeah, but after the law goes into effect, that'll be a problem.
Do we know when the law, did I miss it, when did those go?
Most of the laws went into effect on August 5th, I may be thinking of something different, but all the laws go into effect 90 days after the close of the session, so that would be August 5th, unless there's a later date specified in the legislation. And I believe that there was at least the final enforcement part of that was delayed until January. But that's not, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I think that's what it is.
If something's already come before the planning commission is on that track, it can stay on that track.
That's correct.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. But there will be a rather abrupt change when that happens, and those projects will have to go to the county. And the issue is the county doesn't have those type of development regulations, so it is a concerning issue, for the counties and the cities to work on. I'm not sure the counties really wanted this, but it happened. So.
And I do have one question too. My understanding on the third-party inspections, they only have that option after the city delays on a certain number of days.
So that is correct. We have to, it's very complicated, but after 5 days, we have to tell them whether we can complete the review within a certain period of time or not. And if we can't complete the review within a certain period of time, they have the option to do the third-party review, but they have to pay for it. And for most of the reviews and inspections that we do, they're performed within 5 days anyway. So most people are not going to choose this. It may not have that big of an effect on us. Where I can see that being done is with much larger projects. In particular, if there was a really big facility that was being built or a school or something of that nature, but it could come up to be used. The problem is that it's different. Instead of having our own folks doing the inspection or doing the plan review, it has to be a licensed professional, such as an architect or an engineer, and they have to submit reports to this whole process of what do you do. It has to meet minimum code requirements. If it doesn't meet minimum code requirements, what do you do? There's this whole process that deals with that, and we just got to account for that in the code. It may not happen to us anytime soon, because whoever does that's going to have to pay for it. But in 99% of the time, I believe we would perform an inspection or review faster than when that would be triggered. But it is an issue that we'll have to account for.
All right, thank you. Clerk's report.
Anybody have any questions regarding the financials that we just tabled? We're good with that? Justin, I had a couple questions that we had discussed about at the work session. I would like to update our EFT policy for the legislative audit and then add vendors, specific vendors to that resolution so we can pay those online. Our fixed asset list, I need to remove a trailer off of our fixed asset list as well per legislative auditor, that we have no idea where it's at. And then do we have an update on the franchise tax as well?
I plan on bringing that to the work session.
Okay, thank you. Those are the only questions that I had that I would like to have updates on as well.
Okay. And then as far as the mayor's report, we've been to the municipal league this past week. We've been doing a lot of training on the new state statutes that the attorney was speaking of, and I haven't really prepared a report for tonight, just in the interest of having been busy and the brevity of the meeting. I went ahead and just give that brief update. The next item is public comments. Do we have any public comments tonight? If not, we'll go ahead and move to the lift station update, which I think the city engineer already discussed the timeline and where we are on that. So our first item for consideration tonight is why do I want to have public visit? A resolution to authorize the sale of the 2 Ford vehicles from the police department. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So,
Got a motion by MC, do I hear a second? Second by Mike, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That's approved.
What number was that?
2025-33.
The next item, that's 2025-33, the next item is a resolution to appropriate funds and authorize negotiations of a contract with E-Links for the technology monitoring system for the sewer pump stations. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion by Erica, do I hear a second? They both said it at the same time. Second by Jeremy. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That's approved. 2025-34. Next item is a resolution to authorize the establishment of the jail fund. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion by MC, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jeremy, any discussion?
And Grace, our court clerk, will be giving us a balance of what we're gonna be starting that account with.
She did give me the balances, she went through and looked at what has been collected, and went through and looked at what we've spent on jail, and this is the balance difference.
$46,380.
Can I get a copy of that report?
Sure,
That way I can attach it to the check for audit.
absolutely,
Thank you.
sure. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. And that's approved. Next item is a ordinance to amend ordinance 2016-17 on the sales of alcohol beverages, or the supplemental tax for the sales of alcoholic beverages. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules and place this on third and final reading?
make a motion to table this.
Got a motion to table, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Erica. Any discussion?
Mayor, can I just add that Mike called me today, we talked about, he had some ideas on, maybe looking at enforcement, and so I'm gonna pull together a little bit of information and have that for you guys at the work session. I thought it was a good idea, and so we're gonna pull together some information so we can have a discussion about enforcement, and collection.
Okay.
It's useless.
Got a motion and a second to table. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. That is tabled. Any further comments or discussion?
We'll bring it up again, we're halfway through the year, winter's coming. What about the facility? What are we gonna, the equipment can go in the old park, the old fire station. What about sand and gravel? We're not covering the tops.
There's actually a couple of things. One is I do have a plan that I've discussed. It's going to require financing. And so we're looking into financing now to try to get that in front of y'all so we can move forward as we approve it. The other thing is we have in the past put sand and salt inside of the metal building down there. So the things that can dissolve or that can create large clumps, the things we need to be able to mix can be accommodated for now. It's not ideal, and the ideal solution is being prepared.
When can we see the one?
We're looking right now at financing, and as soon as I can get some information on financing and what it's been, the plans we can get to you, probably this week. The plans aren't a problem to get to you, but the final numbers and what we're looking at and the proposal would be a little bit, Anything else? Do I hear a motion to